Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is your sustainability specialist. Always get his title wrong, but he still keeps coming back. It's Phil Groupie. Phil, welcome back. And how are you doing today on this fine, warm day in February?
I am enjoying the warmth from the comfort of the indoors, but put on a flannel just to commemorate it.
And today we're going to be talking about the sustainability plan update. Well, tell us about where you're at in the sustainability plan, and we'll come back to the flannel talk.
Absolutely, we're moving forward. So it's a three-phase plan, and we are kind of in the early stages of phase two. The three phases largely consist of collecting background data and baseline docs. I'm trying to make sure that my hands are on the correct side of the screen here for my little timeline. Yep. And right now we're in the middle stage, which is we're wrapping up community engagement with a survey, and we're working with the planning team and a sort of engaging staff as well to talk about some of our the goals that we want to set for the ultimate plan, what strategies we want to take to get there, and then specifically what action items will help to achieve those strategies and goals. And then once that's done, we're going to have a draft plan that we bring to council, we bring to some committees, we again present to the public, and then we'll finalize that before we bring it to council to get final approval. We expect that to be fall, sometime late September or into October.
And what are some key components that are in that plan so far that has been shared both with the public? We've had some discussions this week via staff, kind of learning a little bit about it, but how's that sectioned off?
So, yeah, it's always a good question. This was one of the things that took up a lot of conversation early on, was how we wanted to divide this up. Sustainability plans really can cover a lot of different things. I kind of did a survey of plans around the region and around the country, and I ended up finding like 30 or 35 different section headers that were used for various components of communities' plans. The way that we're doing it, there are 8 different subcategories. I don't know if I'll remember them all off the top of my head, but it's like buildings and energy. So there you're talking about building construction, but also energy usage and the impact on climate change. There's land use and transportation. So there you're getting into sort of where and how we grow, and obviously what we're using to get around. Again, major climate implications. Not a surprise with big conversations right now on climate change, that's a major component of the sustainability plan throughout. There is a section on food and agriculture. Obviously, Fitchburg, our rural community, is a huge part of the city, so we wanted to make sure that we didn't ignore that. Sustainable, equitable economy is one section. Water is another. Waste is another, looking at waste and recycling. So we're really trying to cover all the bases. I think there's one more I missed, and it's just not coming to me at the moment. I wasn't counting as I went. But
so that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So within each one of them, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. I was gonna say, if people are interested in seeing more what you've presented so far, where you're at, and where you're moving, I bet you there's a place they can go and learn that and get some info.
There might be. I should look into that. Yes, they can go to the City of Fitchburg website, fitchburgwi.gov, search for Green Fitchburg, which is kind of a repository for all things green, environmentally related, or search for the sustainability plan. There's a separate subpage specifically for the sustainability plan. On both of those pages, you can find some updates on where the plan is at right now. There's a link to a project-specific page hosted by Pale Blue Dot, our consultant out of Minnesota that's helping us work through this. And then there's also updates on things like we have a public engagement survey that's been going on since, I believe, September, looking to get our response completed for that by next Wednesday, February 14th. Celebrate Valentine's Day by loving all the responses we got. There is a link where you can view the initial recommended goals from Pale Blue Dot based on the baseline documents they looked at and the background data that was collected. So the planning team and staff are getting a chance to weigh in on those recommended goals so that we can create our initial draft goals that will form the basis of the plan. Also opening this up to the community to get public input on what they think about these goals. Do they feel like they're appropriate? too aggressive, not aggressive enough, achievable or not? Does it seem like we're missing anything? Those kinds of things. There also was a public information meeting on January 30th, last week on Tuesday. Not a ton of attendees in person, but the video was recorded by Fact TV and is available on those pages as well, Green Fitchburg and the sustainability plan. So there, Ted from Pale Blue Dot gives an overview of the process. There's a little bit of Q&A. And then what the video doesn't show is that people were given an opportunity to write their thoughts on these same documents, those sort of draft goals, which, now if you're able to get to them online, again, we'd be happy to have that input.
Yeah, no, you guys are off to a great start. It's a great information out there. I'd encourage you to check the website, take the survey if you can. You got till nothing like tying Valentine's Day and sustainability. Share the love for sustainability.
I can tie anything into sustainability, Jeremy. Try me.
You tried with flannel and you did pretty good. So
tried.
I think it tried, succeeded.
I give myself a solid C+.
We're going to be talked to by the higher ups after this, so just so you know, we're going down that path. Let's go into February being all about the birds. Coming out of the Green Newsletter, sharing some information on birds. This is something, Phil, interesting enough. I put bird feeders up in front of the house, kind of our main living room, for the winter time. I mean, I'm going to fill them year round, but ahead of winter this year, because I'm like, I want to see the birds, and it's cool to see birds in the winter time.
Yep. Yeah.
It's helpful.
So there's a couple big things in February with birds. February is recognized by a couple of education groups and bird feeding society groups as National Bird Feeding Month, kind of in recognition of what you mentioned, that a lot of people put a little more effort to get their bird feeders filled in the winter. Not a surprise. There's a little bit less food to eat for the birds. There must be something or they wouldn't stay up here. That's kind of the history of birds come back north from migration season because there's more food, but they don't all migrate south. There's still food here for those that stay, but it doesn't hurt at all to supplement, especially on particularly cold days when they need more energy to keep warm, or during or after a nasty storm where maybe something that they might eat could be covered. So February being kind of the deepest depths of winter in Wisconsin and most of the country, it's a great month to think about and look into and celebrate feeding these birds. And yeah, it's just fun. It's educational. It can be beneficial. There's a popular misconception that if you feed birds, they'll become overly reliant and they won't be able to forage on their own anymore. It's not really true. Certainly advise against like quasi-domesticating any animals by getting into hand feeding them. But if you put bird feeders out there, that's only helpful. The big things to keep in mind are things like if you have especially large like picture windows, either put the feeder within 5 feet of those so that the birds won't pick up speed and fly into the window. They might see the reflection of trees and think they're going towards the forest, or else put it 30, 40 feet away from the house. If you put the feeder in that like 10 to 15 foot range away from the building, that becomes a little bit more of a danger. So either put up some kind of reflective decal or shiny spinny things, wind chimes, whatever. But yeah, things like that are good to keep in mind. If you've got I've got enough trees behind my house that some owls and hawks occasionally will hang out, and definitely have noticed in the past that if we fill the feeders more regularly in the summer, we get some opportunistic Cooper's hawks that come in to see what they might like hanging out around the feeder. So keep that in mind. I love hawks too. They've got to eat, but depending on if you've got a lot of maybe feral cats hanging out, they are probably the #1 killer of songbirds in the United States. So see what you can do to make sure that maybe your feeders aren't too low to the ground or somewhere the cats can jump from. Things like that. I'm getting into a lot of details. February is National Bird Feeding Month.
It's interesting. I'm glad you said that, because I ended up having to put what is I would call, you put a cone around an animal after they have a surgery or something. I had to put one of those up on the bird feeder pole because we were having squirrels climb up the pole.
Oh yeah, the squirrel baffle.
And it was really funny to watch the squirrels swinging back and forth, on the bird feeders, but sort of defeating the purpose of the bird feeder. So
there's a guy on YouTube. There's a guy on YouTube who is popular for a lot of really cool science displays that he breaks down and makes accessible. A couple of really popular videos he's done are he basically makes obstacle courses for squirrels, and they manage to get through everything. It might take them a few tries, but they figure it all out. They're incredibly acrobatic and smarter than you might think, solving those puzzles. So the baffle works. What I use is I've just got a feeder that's got a little bit of a kind of a weight sensitive drop mechanism. So, squirrels try it a couple times, realize there's no way they can get to the seed, and they give up.
Yeah, no, it's that's a whole nother area that we could spend some time on, but we won't. Really quick too, there is a great backyard bird count going on as well. It runs through February 16th through the 19th, but good time to also, if you're looking to do a little bit of fun and learning about birds and stuff, just seeing how many are passing through your area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you go to birdcount.org. The Great Backyard Bird Count is put on by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the Audubon Society, and Birds Canada. This is one of the largest citizen science projects in the world. It's been going on for a long time. And really, this is just about, obviously, there's a lot of scientists who are studying bird populations, bird habitats, and their range. They can't be everywhere. They can't track every bird. So this is a fantastic opportunity for people who live all over to lend their own eyes and hands with your computer or your phone app to helping to document these birds and just provide a huge data set for scientists to understand, especially as we're seeing a lot of population shifts with temperatures changing. Brief side note, the USDA just released a new, they released their roughly every decade, they redo their growing temperature zone map for agriculture, for home gardeners. Fitchburg from 2012 to this year has actually moved slightly. So the lower number you are, the colder zone you are. So 0 or 1, I guess, would be the coldest zone, and it goes up to 9 or 10. You're getting down into tropics. Wisconsin 20, 30 years ago was in like zone 4A or 4B. 12 years ago, we were in 5A, I think, and now we're sort of between 5B and 6A. So it definitely is getting warmer. That's going to have impacts on population. And so something like this Great Backyard Bird Count is a really good tool to help scientists understand what sorts of impacts are being had. Are we seeing new species in locations? Are they disappearing from spots that we're used to seeing them? Yeah, so it's just a really cool way to participate. You can either find the website online. I do believe there's an app that's been made available, so you can just hang out somewhere for 15, 20 minutes, track every bird you see. Even if you're not good with bird species, there are ways that you can still participate and even if it's just like take pictures and submit them. I don't know what bird this is. It's a little brown bird. Still can be very helpful.
That's the best part of watching birds, is trying to figure out what they are. I've definitely snapped a lot of photos because I'm like, I gotta document this so I can look it up and figure out what that is. So it's just kind of a fun thing to do here this time of year. So Phil, thank you so much for your time, efforts. Check out the Green Newsletter and sustainability updates at our website, fitchburgwi.gov. And Phil, we'll look forward to having you and the flannel back next month.
Great. I'm gonna go make a tiny flannel for some birds.